The 10 most scandalous and shocking facts about Calamity Jane. Calamity Jane, born Martha Jane Canary, has become a legend of the Wild West, known for her sharpshooting, hard-drinking lifestyle, and compassionate heart. Her life was filled with adventures, controversies, and tales that straddle the line between fact and fiction. This video delves into 10 of the most scandalous and shocking facts about this iconic figure, revealing the complexity and contradictions of her character. Fact number 1. Her start as a professional scout. Martha Jane Canary, later known as Calamity Jane, began her notable career as a professional scout around 1875. Employed by the U.S. Army, she took part in multiple military expeditions across the territories of Wyoming and Montana, particularly during the Great Sioux War of 1876. Her role involved riding long distances to deliver dispatches, scouting for enemy troops and resources, and helping to map uncharted territories. These expeditions often took her through perilous terrain in the Black Hills, a region sacred to the Lakota tribes and newly invaded by prospectors after the 1874 Black Hills expedition led by General George Armstrong Custer. Her involvement as one of the few female scouts was controversial, challenging the societal norms of the era which largely confined women to domestic roles. Despite this, her prowess in handling horses, shooting, and surviving in the wild earned her respect among many soldiers and frontiersmen, though it also attracted skepticism and scorn from others who doubted her stories and abilities. Number 2. The origin of Calamity Jane. The nickname Calamity Jane was reportedly earned during a skirmish in 1872 when she courageously rescued Captain Egan from imminent danger during a clash with Native Americans. According to folklore, as they were retreating, Captain Egan was unseated from his horse after being struck by an incoming bullet. Jane, riding alongside, swiftly lifted him onto her horse and carried him to safety. Following this act, Egan, in a bout of gratitude, exclaimed, "I name you Calamity Jane, the heroine of the plains." This incident purportedly took place near Goose Creek, Wyoming. However, the exact truth behind this tale is difficult to verify, with many historians arguing it could be an embellishment or a complete fabrication either by Jane herself or by admirers and storytellers captivated by her persona. This event, factual or not, solidified her image as a rugged and fearless woman of the West. Number 3. Her alleged romance with Wild Bill Hickok. Calamity Jane's alleged romantic relationship with Wild Bill Hickok is one of the most romanticized aspects of her life story, though it is also one of the least substantiated. Jane claimed they were married in 1873 and even had a daughter, whom she later put up for adoption. However, historical records provide no evidence of a marriage. Hickok was legally married to Agnes Thatcher Lake from 1876 until his death in 1876. Jane's narratives, shared in her autobiographical pamphlet and performances, might have been influenced by her affection for Hickok or a desire to align herself with his legendary status. Despite the lack of concrete proof, this claim contributed to her lasting fame and continued to fuel debates in fiction about her life long after her death. Number 4. A habit for dressing in men's clothing. Throughout her life, Calamity Jane was frequently noted for wearing men's attire, such as trousers, boots, and hats, which was highly unconventional for women in the 19th century. This choice was practical given her lifestyle involving rough terrain and physically demanding tasks that were typical of the role she undertook, including scouting and later performing in Wild West shows. Her sartorial preferences enabled her to perform her duties unencumbered by the long skirts and corsets that were customary for women at the time. Moreover, her attire challenged the prevailing gender norms and societal expectations, which dictated not only women's roles but also their appearance. This defiance garnered both admiration and infamy, contributing to her myth as a cross-dressing icon of the American frontier. Number 5. Her battle with alcoholism. Calamity Jane's alcoholism is well documented and was a defining feature of her tumultuous life. She faced multiple arrests for public intoxication, particularly in frontier towns like Deadwood during the late 1870s and 1880s. These incidents underscored her reputation as a disorderly and unpredictable figure, often involved in barroom brawls. However, beneath her rough exterior lay a compassionate individual who showed great generosity, especially during community crises. This duality in her personality showcased her ability to navigate and survive the challenges of her environment, despite personal struggles. Number 6. Compassionate acts during a smallpox epidemic. During the smallpox epidemic that swept through Deadwood in the winter of 1877 to 1878, Calamity Jane demonstrated profound altruism. She cared for the sick and dying at great personal risk, providing much-needed nursing despite the harsh conditions and limited medical knowledge of the time. Her actions during the epidemic painted a picture of Jane that differed greatly from her usual persona. They showed her as a dedicated caregiver who placed the well-being of others above her own safety. This aspect of her life earned her enduring admiration and respect from the Deadwood community. Number 7. Her time as a performer in Buffalo Bill's Wild West show. In 1893, Calamity Jane joined Buffalo Bill's Wild West show, a decision that brought her both fame and criticism. As a performer, she displayed her sharpshooting and horse riding skills, which captivated audiences. However, her reliability was compromised by her ongoing struggle with alcoholism, which often led to inconsistent performances. Despite these challenges, her time with the show bolstered her legend and allowed her to earn a livelihood showcasing the skills that had made her famous in the American West. Her participation also helped to solidify her status as an iconic figure of the frontier era. Number 8. Publishing her autobiography. Calamity Jane penned her autobiography, Life and Adventures of Calamity Jane, in 1896. In this narrative, she detailed her adventures, her work as a scout, and her claimed relationship with Wild Bill Hickok. While her recounting of events helped to cultivate her legend, historians and readers have often questioned the accuracy of her tales, suggesting that Jane may have embellished or even fabricated parts of her story to enhance her mythic status. Despite these controversies, her autobiography has provided invaluable insights into her life and the persona she cultivated, serving as a critical document for both historical and cultural studies. Number 9. Her relationship with Dora du Fran. Calamity Jane's friendship with Dora du Fran, a prominent brothel owner in Deadwood, highlights a less discussed aspect of her life. Dora du Fran, originally from Liverpool, England, settled in Deadwood in the late 1870s and became known as one of the most successful madams in the Black Hills. The fact that Jane, a figure often associated with the rough-and-tumble lifestyle of the Wild West, maintained a close relationship with du Fran intrigued the locals and fueled much speculation. Reports from the time and later accounts from historians suggest that Jane frequently visited du Fran's brothel, not only for companionship but also possibly for work during harder times. Their friendship endured through many years, highlighting a social acceptance between two women whose lifestyles diverged from the norm of their era. Number 10. Her final days and burial next to Wild Bill Hickok. Calamity Jane's last years were marked by declining health, which was exacerbated by her long-standing alcoholism. She passed away on August 1, 1903, in Terry, South Dakota, near the Black Hills she had roamed decades earlier. At her request, she was laid to rest beside Wild Bill Hickok in Mount Moriah Cemetery, Deadwood. The decision to bury her next to Hickok was seen as a fulfillment of her last wish, a poignant but controversial act that further mystified their relationship. Her funeral was a significant event, attended by many locals who remembered her deeds, both real and embellished. Being interred next to Hickok solidified the romantic legend that Jane herself had promoted throughout her life. While their actual relationship during their lifetimes remains a subject of debate, this burial arrangement cemented her place in the lore of the American Wild West. The proximity of their graves has become a symbol of their supposed love story and remains a point of interest and speculation for historians and fans alike.